Booyah, Recruiting Nation. This is Rear Admiral Jim Waters, Commander Navy Recruiting Command, joining you for episode 24 of Uncharted Waters. And we have some very special guests with us today, some of our recruiters of the year. We have DC-1 Heitpas, the active component enlisted recruiter of the year. We have NCC-1 Smith, the Rink of the Year, and then we have NCC Henderson, the DLCPO of the Year. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
It's glad to have you. So, episode 24, we're in Washington, D.C., celebrating the Recruiters of the Year. You got to see many great things so far. And what I'm hoping for today is that we have a conversation about the things that you've done in your career and your time in recruiting, each of the three of you, to really excel and hopefully to share some lessons learned. So we start out to my left here. DC-1, why don't you tell Recruiting Nation a little bit about yourself?
I'm DC-1 Heitpas. I'm from NTAC Jacksonville, and I work at NRS East Jacks.
Okay.
I'm NC-1 Smith. I'm out of NTAC Phoenix, and I work out of NRS Superstition.
Go ahead, Chief.
Chief Henderson, NTAC Great Lakes. I was Division 6 DLCPO this past year. Okay.
Great Lakes.
Yes, sir.
All right, Phoenix and Jax. So we got a pretty good spread across the country. You three don't work together, and I assume you probably just met this week.
Yes, sir. Monday, sir.
Right. But as you've kind of learned from each other and talked, for you, DC-1, first, what are some of the things that you do that you think have really helped you in recruiting, right? This is your first tour.
Yes, sir.
In recruiting. Prior to this, you were in the fleet.
Yes, sir.
Doing DC stuff. And what are some of those things that you think that have really made a difference for you?
Yes, sir. So some of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis is you always stay positive, you're motivated, and if you do exactly what you're supposed to do, you're going to be successful.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What are some of those things that you're supposed to do?
Phone power, appointments, just the normal things that you do as a recruiter every single day. If you really get after it with 100% every single day, you're going to be successful.
Yeah,
yes,
right. And NC-1, what are some of the things that you do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, that make a difference for your station?
I'll make sure that those processes in the morning, getting those early attempts in, make sure that we're greeting each other really though, and having a good atmosphere in the station, making sure that there's good open communication throughout the day, so that we can be positive as we get out there and get out into the day.
Yeah.
Find new people join the Navy.
How do you think about building a team within an endeavor that is highly individualistic, right? You know, when you're building trust-based relationships one-on-one, how as a rank do you encourage team building?
Supporting one another, supporting one another when there is a need for that, whether it be, if someone has some prospecting activities outside the station, supporting that interview that may be covering down on that, making sure that we know each other as well. If there's personal things that we need help out with, we're able to do that as well.
Yeah, okay. And Chief, as the division leading Chief Petty Officer, I think you have 5 stations, is that right?
Yes, sir. 5 stations.
How do you view leadership? What are some of the things that you do to ensure that all those stations, all those sailors are performing at the level that's necessary to produce the kind of results that your division has produced?
Sir, I like to think that I'm out there building the best team that I can, and also the sailors all want to work together as we do it. I try my best not to focus on the number, and we've been working towards the yearly goal. Vice having a monthly goal has really set us free. So not focusing on the number, but focusing on how we can be better sailors, better ourselves, and just a better division overall. That's all I did. So it felt very normal to me, but that's what I enjoy doing. I'd rather do a team building event and force camaraderie, essentially, or a competition within the division to bring everybody together. And at the end of the day, we just want to have a good life, and that comes with doing the job. So,
what are some of the things though that you do to help guide those stations, those individual recruiters onto better targets? Because I can't imagine that every single station performs equally within your division. So how do you help the ones that may be a little far behind to gain some ground?
So I focus on your nukes, your NAT, and your spec war, and we train to that. At every evolution, it seems like, or every station visit that we do, we're going to talk about those programs, and that's what helped us be successful in the end, especially with the nuke and NSO goal. So just focusing on that and people actually having the knowledge of what it takes to do those programs, everything else fell into place after that.
Yeah.
So everywhere, even the stations that were struggling, they were still able to put in a lot of nukes and a lot of spec war.
Yeah, okay. So DC1, what are some of the things that you expect from your rink and your DLCPO? What has helped you? What are some of the characteristics that you think are effective for a recruiter, especially someone that might be new?
Yes, sir. So initially when I first got to recruiting, I was terrified of my rank. I was terrified of my DLCPO just because I was new to the whole entire environment and like the whole entire situation.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started trusting my rank and my rank could trust me, that's when I really started excelling. Because then if he needs to leave, then I can take his place. And when I'm gone on a trip like this or in Millington, then I know he has my back, as well as my DLCPO. My DLCPO always has my best interest at heart, so I always have her best interest at heart too. So I just think that trust definitely helped me go a really, really long way.
Yeah, that's a great statement. It's very, very important to think about trust. The definition of great culture, solving hard problems with people you trust and respect. Easy to say, hard to build, but focusing in on those trust-based relationships, not just with the future sailor, but with your own organization, really sets you free to be able to focus on doing the things that a recruiter is supposed to do.
Yes, sir. And then it motivates you too. So now that I have my trust in my rank and the trust in my DLCPO, then it motivates me to even do better, because it's not just better for me, it's better for the station, it's better for the division as well.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges that you faced, from the time you finished up at Nauru to today? You didn't, on day one, you weren't recruiting at the rate that you're recruiting today, probably. So what are some of the things you learned along the way, some of the challenges?
Yes, sir. So I asked 1,000,001 questions a day. OS1 Thomas was one of the guys that taught me everything, along with my rank and NC1 Foster. So I asked 1,000,001 questions, and just not being afraid to be wrong and wanting to learn more every single day definitely got me to like where I am today. So I have that knowledge, and I just kind of like to pass on that knowledge too.
Yeah, not being afraid to be wrong. I love that.
Yes, sir.
Right, because that takes courage to to take that risk that you're going to be wrong and it's going to be embarrassing, but you learn from those things, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great. NC1. So when you think about your station and your history as a recruiter, you have a little bit more history, quite a bit more history than DC1, I think. What are some of the challenges you faced? How'd you overcome them?
Yeah, so initially in recruiting, it's just a big change. A little bit what DC1 described there. So it's a big transition for all of us coming from the fleet, operational units and into recruiting. So it's certainly a culture change. So in the beginning, it's just getting out there and asking questions and learning and being that go-getter, really. Hopefully we get a lot of those go-getters out there like DC1 here. So when it comes to being on the ring side of it, it's hoping that you are getting some of those folks understanding that we have a very diverse force and that we're going to get different kinds of people from different communities, different warfare areas, and slightly different approaches, I think, in different communities to how we do things in the Navy. So paying attention to them as individuals, making sure that we're able to pull them together, for that same focus on mission completion. So the day-to-day activities that we do in recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. All right, Chief, what about you? You've been through the places that DC1 and NCC1 NC1 have been, excuse me. What have you learned along the way?
Oh, sir, I've learned a lot. A lot of good, a lot of bad.
What lumps have you taken?
Yes, sir. Starting off, I wasn't a rock star like DC1 was, so it took me a little bit to get my feet under me until I started producing at the level I needed to produce at. And while doing that, what she said about being able to accept being wrong, that is a huge part. Like, just being a sailor and then becoming a leader, you do that at my level and above as well, and then people will learn, like, they will rally around you if you can accept that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned that, and then I've also learned to not voice my opinion on every single matter. You choose your battle, sir, right? Whenever it comes to certain situations. I know as a young rink and young recruiter, we like to think that some things are against us. Maps conversion normally is where it's at. And then once you have been in this for a while, you learn, hey, this is just a part of the program, and I should have realized that. And me saying something every single time was really just unnecessary and almost a waste of time. But I should.
Yeah, I think it's zooming out a little bit and recognizing that in most cases, everyone is trying to get to the same answer, right? Trying to bring people into the military. MEPS has a role to play in ensuring that the rules are followed, that they're the gatekeeper, if you will, and we just have to respect that. I think it's the same when you think about working with the Navy Liaison Office. At the MEPS itself, you have the CMO and others processing there and evaluating. At the Navy Liaison Office, those are people that work for the same boss you work for, but they're helping us ensure that the rules are followed. I mentioned this the other evening. It's like pointing out that you're about to step out of bounds helps you ensure that you stay in bounds so that the touchdown counts, right? That's the important thing, and I think it's a really good lesson to take out of that.
Yes, sir. And while we're on this topic, I want to shout out MEPS Milwaukee, because they're a great NLO office,
Yeah.
and they want to achieve the mission as well, and they help us with every situation that's there.
Yeah, that's the right attitude about the team spirit, that we're together accomplishing the mission. And everyone has a role to play on the field. And the football analogy, I think, is a really good one, because you have the people that get a lot of airtime because they caught the ball and got it in the end zone, but they didn't catch that ball alone, because the offensive line protected the quarterback long enough for them to get the ball out in an exact spot. We have to recognize that. So the recruiter gets the contract, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind that, and that's one of the reasons we do a Rink of the Year, a DLCPO of the Year, and there are other categories. We'll have a few other episodes to talk to some of them, right? So it's really good. So as you've spent a little bit of time in recruiting now, and how long have you?
18 months.
18 months recruiting. What are your aspirations? What are your goals? I mean, you're Recruiter of the Year. What's next? Don't say Disney World.
That would be great, but
you live close.
Yes, sir. Next step is definitely to get the rank wall. Definitely DLCPO before I leave inside Jacksonville as well. The end goal overall for my naval career is just to make a change, and just being part of all those focus groups and those innovation groups up at NRC just definitely opened my eyes to wanting to be a part of the change.
Yeah.
NRC is great, and they have so much opportunity, I just want to make sure that we're still headed in the right direction. And I love touching people's lives and making change for the individual person as well.
Yeah. And then the other thing I would ask of you is if you could you told me the other evening when we were first talking about how you manage your DEPers, right? Your delayed entry program, future sailors, in relation to new people that you're prospecting with. Can you talk a little bit about that for the Recruiting Nation?
Yes, sir. So if I have an applicant sitting at my desk and a future sailor walks into my office unexpectedly, I'll ask the applicant politely just to give me a second so I can put my full attention on that future sailor, because they deserve every second of my attention, my undivided attention, if you will, because they're the reason I'm here, and I need them to ship. We need to make go, and then with that, it builds my relationship with my future sailor and also with my applicant, because my applicant is going to want to be a part of that group and be a part of that relationship, as well as my future sailor is going to want their friends to come in and be a part of that group, as well as the applicant's going to want to bring those referrals as well.
Yeah, I really like that. That building of connectivity,
Yes.
that sense of belonging, and the value that you demonstrate for them being part of the team is really good.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. NC1, thoughts on how we can better, as a team, better manage the delayed entry program, those sailors? What practices have you employed? What have you seen through your career that you think we could benefit from as a nation?
Future sailors are our investment. We've made that investment. We want to protect that investment. Making sure that we're being interactive with them, maintain that rapport from contact to shipping, and that we treat them as customers in a lot of ways. We want to make sure that they're in good mental health and physical conditioning that we talk about for our delayed entry, for our future sailors. Staying engaged with them really is the key to it. Those weekly phone calls that we're making with them, those future sailor contacts and those mentorships are crucial.
Yeah, making them meaningful contacts,
Yes.
where you're actually talking to them about things that are important to them, making sure they have what they need. I think that's really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How about you, Chief? What do you think? What are some of the lessons you've learned through the years on that topic?
Sir, they've both hit on it pretty well, but keeping engaged with the future sailors and then treating them like they're humans and showing them, even like, using that a lot, but every time I have a debt meeting or I'm at a debt meeting, I let them know that I'm not a chief just at the intake level. Like, I'll be a chief until I retire. I mean, I'll be a chief afterwards and all that good Navy stuff too, but I'll be available to them until I retire. I'm not going to change my phone number. So just to know that once you get in the leadership at my level, if you ever need anything, it's still going to be there. You can be across the world and still call Chief Henderson and I'll make something happen.
Yeah, it's really important. Demonstrating that that they're not just a number to us, that these are future shipmates. These are people that are going to stand the watch with us and with our peers and with the people we care most about, and they're joining that team. I think that's really important. So, well, as we wrap up, I just want to say thank you for all you've done. You've obviously excelled in each of your roles to be identified as the best in Recruiting Nation in your role. So congratulations. For Recruiting Nation that may or may not have seen it or heard about it, DC1 was DC2 yesterday morning and was advanced to DC1 by the Chief of Naval Operations and the MCPON. There's a pretty epic picture of that where it's just you standing there with those two pinning on your chevrons.
Yes, sir.
And it did seem like you were a little surprised by that.
Absolutely. I had no idea it was coming.
Yeah, he called out by CNO out of the audience. That's a special moment.
Yes, sir.
So,
Sir,
yeah.
these first few days that we've been together, every day she would tell us how she can't get promoted. How she can't get promoted. It's impossible as a DC man. So she was even on the van over there, sir.
I say to you, when it seems impossible, we can do it.
Yes, sir. Recruiting Nation definitely did the impossible.
Yeah, we did. And you well deserved the advancement. So thank you all for what you do. This has been a great week. It's been a great fiscal year 24 to see the incredible comeback that Recruiting Nation has achieved, and 25 is just off to an incredible start as well. So thanks for all you do.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And Hoo-yah, Recruiting Nation, thanks for tuning in for episode 24 of Uncharted Waters.